You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello Night Nation, hello Orlando. This is Andrew Phegley, and this is Knightline at Night, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Phegley, 386-736-3000, 386-736-3000, or you can come and visit me at DeLand Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. So I got, once again, I'm Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter, and Roger Phipps at Night Bengal on Twitter. And you can find all the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. Big week for UCF. We're talking UCF sports, obviously, hence the name Knightline at Night. I always have to remind people that. I just want to make sure that you realize we're talking UCF sports. Big week, though, for UCF. Finally getting the time and everything that we're going actually to the Big 12, which is incredibly cool, in my opinion. We'll get into that. Definitely during the show. But first, I want to talk to y'all about something kind of serious. I don't know if it's serious, but it's definitely a change. So this is our second to last Knightline at Night show. The show is ending. I don't know how long I've been doing this radio show on WDBO. I know it's a couple of years anyway. Roger and Ben, you guys have been a part of that, most of it, I believe. It's just been decided by the powers that be, one of them being me, one of them being Chad Barr, Travis Dever, WDBO, that it's coming to an end, which I'm good with. I love doing it and all that stuff, but, you know, sometimes good things have to come to an end, basically. So we're going to keep doing the Knightline podcast. You can find that on NightlineSports.com or anywhere that you can see or you can hear podcasts, anywhere you can find them, Apple, Google, just all those things. So, so not next, next week is the last one. Yeah. So July 1st, it will be over and done with. And I thank everybody for listening, obviously. I thank all the great guests that we've had. And also, I have to thank Chad Barr, Travis Dever, Tijuana Flats, obviously the people at WDBO, Andrew, Keith, Jerry, Nick, Tony Marino, people that have helped us along the way. I really appreciate it. Doing live radio was not my forte in the very beginning, and it's still not. But it's been a blast, and if you guys want to say something here as well about it, go for it.
Ben, you want to go start?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of echo a few things you said there. I mean, it's been a great show to be a part of over the last few seasons. We've talked through some really interesting times here at UCF, some great games and great highs. Certainly some weird times. I mean, I don't think I was just thinking the other day about the first show that we did on a Sunday morning right before kind of everything shut down there, and talking about what this could mean. And so that was an interesting one there. And obviously talking to great guests that we've had on this show, obviously Brendan Hellwig, of course, and Mackenzie Milton. That was such a great interview as well. And so it's been awesome to be a part of this show. And I appreciate you, Andrew, for including me on this, and it's been a great ride, man. And like you said, it's bittersweet that it's coming to a close, but I think that we put a great chapter in kind of getting UCF out in the media and pushing the message for UCF.
Yeah, I want to comment a little bit on that as well. Something that you said there. I've been doing this for quite a while, doing Knightline in general, Knightline Sports. It was Knightline the podcast, then it became KnightlineSports.com, and then it became the radio show and all kinds of other stuff, the Knightline Sports Network. I've been doing this a long time, and I'm honestly, and I know if you've listened to the podcast, you guys hear me say all the time, I'm tired. I got a lot going on right now with work and everything else, and it's just time to make a little bit of a transition. So, there's no hard feelings with anyone, sponsors, radio station, any of those things. Like, this is I'm cool with it. I'm good with it. It's kind of perfect timing for me. So it's nothing personal. It's not that we didn't meet expectations of anyone or my personal expectations or whatever. This is just like, it is time to do this. And there will be more news coming, later on about the rest of what we've got going on at Knightline. So, on the Knightline Sports Network and everything else. So I just want to make that clear. It's perfect timing. No reason to feel sad. No reason to feel mad. It is what it is, and I'm perfectly okay with it.
No
Roger.
doubt.
All right. I don't know how to follow all that. How do you encapsulate 2 years of radio? I'll start with this. I remember the first time we started doing radio together. I think it was Kyle, Andrew, and me in the booth. And we have been doing Knightline for a while and had done some other live type stuff at various games. But then to actually be behind the mic and realize that everything that you say, you can't take back, number one. And number two, that, that there's people that are out there listening to you. And, when you're doing this, you don't think of yourself as anything other than just a guy talking about something you're passionate about. And I think what this show represented for all of us is that passion about UCF sports and connecting with people, even though we didn't see you every day. But we got to talk about something we really enjoy and share it with an audience. And there were folks that called in. We had Andrew from Oviedo, et cetera, and a bunch of different people that we interviewed. But all in all, this is part of the UCF experience to me. And this is the next chapter. Andrew has done a great job building the Knightline Network, which doesn't just include the radio show. Jerry gave us an opportunity, as did Chad. Chad, good friend. He's done a lot for UCF, and he did this for UCF, and he allowed us the opportunity to get behind the mic and share how we feel and what our thoughts are. And for some reason, people tuned in. But for me, that just means that I appreciate that. I appreciate the ability to share that passion, and with Ben, talking basketball and all the other things that have evolved. And we've spent 2 years through COVID and all of these other things. We had to pivot and start recording from home because we couldn't go to the station anymore. There's been a lot of change, but through all of it, I just had a really good time. So, it's been a privilege. It is a transition for everyone. But it really is a reflection on a lot of hard work by a lot of different people, and especially Andrew. I know I don't want this to sound like we're pumping up Andrew, but Andrew's put a lot of work to enable us to do this.
You can pump me up all you want. I'm good with it.
I think he's trying to make you cry, Andrew.
Yeah,
he's trying to make you cry on live radio.
No, I'm not doing that. It's not. I don't feel that way about. I mean, I do feel that way about it, but this is not a sad thing. This is not
it's not.
Unhappy thing. And I was like thinking, Roger, come on, you're like getting a little mushy here. I'm glad that we stopped.
Well said, though, Roger. I
absolutely
agree with you. Well said, buddy.
Absolutely well said. But I just don't. I'm really trying, and I really feel that it's not a bad thing. This is a good thing. Chad, number one, has spent countless dollars doing this, and we greatly appreciate that. But that gets expensive. Radio is not cheap. If you've ever, looked into advertising on radio or whatever, and, things change, and you can only spend so much money on certain things, and it's time for Chad to try something a little bit different, as far as, radio advertising and stuff like that. So, I'm sure you have not heard the last of Chad Barr. He's going stronger than ever. And I've told you enough times you should have the phone number memorized, and you should have the website protectingvets.com memorized. So, I've been, really getting into this whole job thing that I do, selling cars now, a new career for me. I haven't really talked too much about that. You hear me talk about it every time that, we start the show and stuff, but it takes a lot of time. I mean, any sales job, Ben, you're in sales or were before. I think you're still in sales, right?
Yeah, sales and marketing, yeah.
Yeah. So you're a little bit, in the executive side of it more than I am or whatever, but it takes a lot of time. I mean, it takes a lot of time. So I am looking right now for almost any time that I have to spend with my family, or to be able to, do things, on a Sunday afternoon and or Sunday evening, and not have to do a radio show. I mean, there's a million things. The prep during the week, the prep afterwards, putting it out as a podcast as well, and all these things. So I am perfectly good with this, and I obviously thank everyone that's ever listened and all that. You can still listen to us, on knightlinesports.com or anywhere else you find podcasts. It's just not going to be on the radio anymore, and I'm good with that. So, I mean, I feel like I'm trying to make you all believe that I'm good with it, but I truly am. I'm just, it is what it is. So I'm good with it.
I don't want to speak for you, Andrew, but I mean, I think the reason why we're all good with it is because we not only appreciate those who have put us on the air, but we feel good about the stamp that we've put on this radio show. I mean, with the effort, us expressing how fans are feeling during tough times and really great times, over the last 2.5 years. It's just been it's been a great experience overall, and it's absolutely a net positive. It's as I said, bittersweet that it's coming to end, but I think that we feel so good about it because we're proud of the work that we have put into it.
Yeah, it's 2022. I've been doing this since 2014. Mm-hmm. That's a long time. I started doing it as an internet radio show, a live radio show that was on YouTube, and I had callers. I made this whole system where I could take callers and all that stuff. We actually got way more callers on that show than we do on this show, which is kind of weird, too. I thought that this would really evolve and people would call in more often, and then people just kind of don't call, and I've never really understood that, but I know people are listening. I see the stats, especially as a podcast. I don't see the stats as radio, but I see the podcast stats, and I think that I think the majority of you enjoy it as a podcast more than a radio show. So, which is perfectly fine. It's part of the deal. That's what we started as. And nothing in radio lasts forever either. So, people need to remember that. Yeah, but it's all good. I'm more than happy. It's been a fun thing to do. It's just kind of time to move on for me. So, I appreciate all of you listening. And I hope that you continue to listen to our stuff. You know where to find it. Thank you very much to WDBO, obviously. And to everybody that's been involved. Chase was a really big person. Sam was a really big person with us. All kinds of people that have contributed. Kyle contributed in the beginning as well. In fact, Kyle introduced me to Jerry. So, all much thanks to all those people. But we're getting ready to come up on a break here, and we will do the rest of our show not talking about this. I just wanted to get this out ahead of time. We'll be right back on Knightline at Night.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, Andrew Phegley back with you here on Knightline at Night, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law. So, I got Big Ben Stout here and Roger Phipps. You can find all the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. So, we got all that out in the first segment of the show there. Now we're going to talk about sports and good stuff and all that. So, big week for UCF. We'll start in this short segment about this. Going to the Big 12, a date and everything has been given. We've found out the terms of what it's going to cost each of the institutions that are going from the American to the Big 12, and got the date and time, basically. So it's a done deal. It's going to happen. I keep thinking of the meme or the GIF or whatever, GIF or GIF, however you want to say it, that we see on social media. It's happening. The guy with, waving his arms and,
Yeah.
I keep thinking about that because we've talked about this for so long. In fact, one of the very first shows that I ever did on the Knightline Sports Network or the Knightline podcast at that time, I talked to Jeff Sharon way back in the day about the Big 12 the first time we were talking about it, and it just seemed so far away at that point. This was years ago, and we were talking about endowments, and that's one of the reasons why we didn't think we were ever going to get into the Big 12 or another power conference, but it seems so as such as the endowments were not such a big deal after all. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but UCF is going to the Big 12. It's just absolutely happening. It's happening.
It's so funny that you just mentioned the endowments. That's the first time I thought about that, like that topic when it comes to college sports in a long time, because you're right. It used to be about that, but now it's so much more about media rights and about, how much attention your program can gain, how many eyeballs on the TV sets you can gain, essentially. I think that, obviously history and alumni base and everything that you just mentioned kind of has a big part of it. But it's so funny how that term and talking about conference realignment with that context is has gone by the wayside over the last 5, 6, 7 years.
It has.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And UCF made a big enough splash in national media and everything else that it facilitated this happening. They did it themselves by making such a big splash and making noise when everybody else, thought that they were the complete underdog, and they just, were the small directional school. Never been a small directional school, by the way.
No doubt.
The largest university in the United States by enrollment. Most people don't know that. I doubt that most people in Orlando even know that. So, but after that, really, I guess the 2013-14, was it 2013-14 Fiesta Bowl, the first one?
13.
Yeah, it was
13.
Yeah, 2013 season. It was I believe it was on New Year's Day.
Right. I think that's when the initial burst of stuff happened, and then with Coach Frost and Danny White came along and really, really put that into high speed or fast motion with the Peach Bowl win. And then, UCF was recognized. Everyone knows who UCF is from that Peach Bowl, and it was such a big deal. But UCF and Danny White at the time, who's now the AD at Tennessee, was our former AD, doing real well there. I don't know what's going on in Tennessee, and I don't really care. But he just made a huge splash by looking into a camera and saying, national champions, undefeated. So we're going to talk a lot more about this. We got to take another break here. We'll be right back on Knightline at Night. We'll continue the conversation. If you haven't figured it out yet, I love Tijuana Flats. I would love them even if they weren't a partner with us on the Knightline Sports Network. They have all kinds of great Tex-Mex food, and it's fresh, by the way. Made to order burritos, tacos, enchiladas, chimichangas, quesadillas, bowls, nachos, and taco salads. And if you haven't tried the queso, you are completely missing out. It is the best queso that I've ever had in my life. Absolutely hands down. And the sauce bar that they have, everything from wild to mild in there. Absolutely awesome, awesome stuff. Not only do I love the food at Tijuana Flats, but I love the company, a UCF-born company. And they give back to the community with the Justin Queso Foundation. So head to your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. Hey Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, Andrew Phegley here, back with you on Knightline at Night, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636, 386-690-1636. Man, I messed that up. Which is nothing new if you know me, and I hope I got some laughs with that. And if you need a new car or new or used car, I'm messing the whole thing up now. Anyway, get yourself together, Andrew. If you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can give me a call, 386-736-3000. My name's Andrew Phegley. Or you can come visit me at DeLand, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. I got Big Ben Stout here with me and Roger Phipps. And you can find all the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. Mentioned in the very beginning of the show, if you're just tuning in now, this is our second to last show on WDBO, doing Knightline at night. Next week will be our final episode of this show. I'm good with it. I'm okay with it. It's all good. No reason to cry. No reason to be upset. Not mad at anybody. It's all good. It happens. Nothing in radio lasts forever. It's all good. Then we started talking about UCF going to the Big 12, and we spent that short segment there, last segment, talking about it very quickly. I'm going to continue with that topic if we can. I don't remember where we left off, but it was the splash that UCF made in that Peach Bowl, I believe, that really led to this happening. That was the defining moment of UCF sports, in my opinion. And really getting things going. And that was about the time, the Fiesta Bowl, the first Fiesta Bowl is when I started doing the show. And that, it's come such a long way. And for this to actually be happening now is absolutely huge for UCF. Just to be taken more seriously, I believe, in the Blue Bloods' eyes. I think that this will help tremendously, and maybe people will actually think of it as Orlando's hometown team after all. So that may be a little philosophical, but go ahead there.
No, I think from my seat, look, I agree that there were bright spots that kind of pushed us over the edge, but I think this is a culmination of UCF's drive to continue to improve, right? We've always invested since Steve Orsini, for those of you that remember back in the day, he came on campus and said, we need to build an athletic village. And ever since that time, UCF has continued to build and move. The only school that's been in all three divisions. And we never, despite having quote unquote modest means compared to some of the other P5, we've always done our best with what we had to position ourselves for this moment. And when Texas and OU decided to part ways to the SEC, despite all the ups and downs that we've had, that drive and that investment in facilities and coaching and the fans' investment, I think that's really what led to this, because it separated us from the rest of the candidates that were out there. I mean, to your point, Andrew, everybody knows Boise State, who always never rocked the boat. Well, guess where they're being left, right?
Exactly.
So,
and UCF rocked the boat more than anybody else ever did, in my opinion. And this is what you get. You sometimes get what you're looking for when you rock the boat. Now, if we'll be sorry that we got that from the Big 12, that's, for the future to tell, depending on what happens with that conference and how the whole thing works out. But finally accomplished a very big goal that UCF has had for a very long time, moving up to the next level.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I feel like that narrative is still going on. People still define us based on the quote unquote national championship, right? Whenever you talk about UCF, it's now 2022. That was the 2017 season. People still talk about it. And
they'll always
we still
talk
create,
about it.
Yeah.
Like forever,
and we always,
hopefully. I will.
Yep. Well, hopefully we add to that with the automatic playoff spot when we get to that point and win another one, right? So At the end of the day, that branding is what helps separate us from the rest. And when how does it go? To the victor go the spoils, or to the bold. So we were bold and we invested, and this is a culmination of that. And I'm excited about seeing what the next step is for us, because this is just another evolutionary step. Now the challenge is, how do you compete? How do you win in the Big 12? And how do you get to the playoff and win a championship? So the journey's not over, but this is a huge step.
Ben?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've really realized over the last couple of years, last year especially, and then now next year in 2023, that my birthday being July 1st is a marquee day in college athletics. I mean, we had in 2021 July 1st on my birthday, we had the name, image, and likeness be ushered in because kind of that's the start of the college athletics fiscal year, if you will. And so we had kind of that big move happen last year on my birthday. And then next year, 2023, July 1st is the effective date of us joining the Big 12. So as you mentioned, Roger and Andrew, that we have that date now. And so we have an official thing to really look forward to. And we kind of know, because it's even as they announced that we're going to be joining the Big 12 earlier this football season, it's like we've been kind of had that carrot dangled in front of us so many times that it almost doesn't seem real until you get that solidified date. So,
and I wondered if it was even happening. I mean,
right.
You know what I'm saying? It was talked about for a long time and then not really talked about. And it kind of, not that we forgot about it, because as fans, we would never forget about it, but it got kind of rushed under the rug for a little while. And it wasn't, a really big thing, but then we were like, okay, when, and honestly, until the Big 12 logo is on the field for opening day and that patch is sewn on the jerseys and all that stuff, I won't believe it until it actually happens. I won't believe it. But can you imagine? I don't know who will be playing in that first game of that season, but that first football game of that season, I think, will be absolutely freaking crazy.
Yeah, certainly the first conference game would be amazing. Yeah. And wouldn't it be special if it is Texas? Just because Texas, more than likely, they may be still in the league at that point. And the only reason why I bring them up is because obviously they were the team that we opened up the bounce house with, right? And so it would be
speaking of the bounce house, there's a new name for that. We haven't even talked about that. Yeah.
FBC.
Yeah. Yeah, FBC, is it FBC Mortgage Stadium?
Correct.
FBC Mortgage Stadium.
Cool, yeah.
And they just awesome. Announced the Tower Club as well has also got a sponsorship on it, 3MG Club, which 3MG is a roofing company, and a local one at that. Their headquarters are in
UCF
Winter Park.
People, no graduates run that company, in I believe. I'm 99% sure of that. So
the interesting thing about that too, if you guys remember, they were one of the ones that were bidding for the stadium naming rights and were turned down by the Board of Trustees.
Yeah,
that's right. Which is another thing. The Board of Trustees turned down a number of different things as far as naming the stadium. But we got a great revenue stream there, and I think, and then the Tower Club being. With the naming rights for the Tower Club going to 3MG recently, I think that that's where you got to give a little credit to Terry Mahajer. I mean, he said that he is going to create revenue streams throughout the athletic campus, and he's certainly so far proving that to be true, and that's much needed revenue that we need.
Yeah.
Well, the first.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Andrew.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of Terry Mahajer, I've told the story before. He was a graduate assistant on my college football team at Kansas way back in the day. And I remember him, of course. I haven't gotten to talk to him since he's been at UCF. I haven't really tried, but it's such a trip to see him, coaching in the Big 8 back then, before it was the Big 12, and then moving to the Big 12 but while he was there as well at Kansas in my last season. It's quite the full circle for him in this journey. Kind of stepping into it here, obviously, when Danny White decided to go away, but it's just weird. There's a lot of things that are coming full circle with all of this, and I think he's done a great job so far. It remains to be seen the mark that he will leave on UCF, but I'm glad that he is in charge, and I'm glad that the coaches that we have are in place, even though I don't always agree with that, who some of those coaches are. So, but anyway, they've all done a great job moving us forward with this.
Yeah, and shout out to 3MG, right? So, you mentioned the bot and the decision that was made there, and they still came through and supported us in a big way with the Tower Club. So, they could have just taken their ball and gone home, and they didn't. So, thanks to them. And that it ends up being $2.3 million, which our original agreement that was turned down was going to pay us $2.3 million per year. So, in essence, we've evened that out from the original agreement and still got that full amount, which is going to be huge. The stadium naming rights deal basically pays for our transition to the Big 12. So, as was announced, basically what we've done is we're paying $10 million up front and then $8 million over the next 14 years, which basically this has all been paid for. So it's really an interesting thing. It's fortuitous. It's worked out really, really well for UCF. Terry Mohajer has done a good job going out and fundraising. That was one of his positives at Arkansas State. And the sponsors that have stepped up, it's a huge deal for them to continue to support the school. And as our exposure grows in the Big 12, I think those sponsorships will as well. Absolutely. Ben, you got anything real quick here?
No, yeah, Roger said it. Roger said it best there. It's a historic day. It will be on July 1st when we move into the Big 12 and kind of, solidifies all the efforts of those who have built the foundation there. And I think really Danny White just kind of us taking on his mentality to really shake things up, and we're continuing to do so. This is his kind of impact. And so I know he's wearing that Tennessee orange right now, but he had a smile on his face when that was announced.
Yeah, of course he did. I mean, we kind of talk bad about him, for leaving or whatever. That kind of seems like that's, one of those sports things. If your coach leaves or your, GM and in other sport or in sports and all that leave, you have something against them, blah, 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 but you really don't. And they don't either, I don't think. So, I'm sure he had a smile on his face. He was huge in this as well. And I still, point back to that moment that he looked into that camera and said, national champs, undefeated on national television. I mean, obviously a lot of things happened before that. I would be remiss in not, mentioning all the things that George O'Leary did for this school and all that. All of that has led up to this, finally being in a Power 5 conference, quote unquote, and the Big 12. I mean, it started from, the vision of the very first person that said that we needed football at UCF. It has to go all the way back to those people. So, and building the on-campus stadium that George O'Leary wanted to do was absolutely huge in all of this.
Practice facility on campus as well.
There's other universities really close by that don't have a stadium at all. All right, we'll talk more when we get back on Knightline Tonight.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Nightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Nightline at Night with you. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw. This is the time in the show, the final segment, that it turns into the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Welcome to the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Visit TijuanaFlats.com for takeout or delivery, or visit your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. All right, our favorite food moment of the show every week. I always talk about something food on here, especially when we're talking about Tijuana Flats. Tijuana Flats, thank you very much for supporting us through this as well. I love Tijuana Flats. I absolutely love it. I go there probably at least sometimes once a week. Sometimes it goes a little bit longer than that. But this is where we do a hot take, predicting something in the future. Most of the time we're wrong, and that's why they're hot takes, but it's fun all at the same time. Roger, why don't you go ahead with your Tijuana Flats hot take of the week?
All right. For this week's Tijuana Flats hot take of the week, I'm also looking to the future, and I'm going to say, since we're talking about the Big 12 Conference, that UCF football will win its first 4 conference games when it joins the Big 12 in 2023.
Wow, okay. That's a strong one there. First 4 games. All right. Conference games. Ben, what's yours?
So I'm going to quickly, so we had a lot of preseason all conference mentions come out this week in different publications. Ryan O'Keefe was certainly mentioned in a lot of publications as first team all AAC. I'm going to say that Ryan O'Keefe is going to be the conference player of the year. That's going to be really hard to do from a wide receiver position. But I think the different ways that we use him in this offense this season, I think is going to have him rise to that status of offensive conference player of the year.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I don't have a Tijuana Flats hot take of the week because I just I don't. I didn't think about it long enough. This is nothing new. There's been lots of them that I haven't had. But I do want to comment there on Ryan O'Keefe. I'm so excited to see how he gets used this year because, as the season went on, the bowl game and everything, they used him more and more and more, especially with people being hurt and having to, get the ball to him to make something happen because he was the most electric player on the field pretty much in most of the games last year, and always did things that you didn't believe were actually happening. So I can't wait to see how that has been refined a little bit, and even more sneaky ways to get him the ball. It's going to be really exciting to see, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's going to be explosive this season, and really, he paid tribute to Otis Anderson in the bowl game this past year against the Gators, and I think that this entire season is just the way he's going to play. I think is really going to pay tribute to Otis in a big way. I'm expecting a great season from Ryan O'Keefe.
Absolutely, yeah. So. That's another situation that we dealt with on throughout this radio show. We've dealt with a lot of good things and a lot of bad things all at the same time. That wasn't the only one. There's been others, things that weren't pleasant to talk about. But glad that we had the opportunity to do it. I believe my former host and I used to always talk about how we talked everybody through that 0-12 season, and that's a memory that I will always have of doing that. So remember, next week, very last one, so tune in, the last Knightline at Night show. We'll be back, though, next week for the final time. Same place, same channel. Go Knights!
Charge on.